Today on Fast Food. After binge eating vegan food with Penn Jillette, I needed a day off from food, but that didn't stop me from getting together with one of the most prolific jugglers of our time.
Well, you managed to keep busy and employed.
Or give that illusion.
I have not seen Jay Gilligan in person in over 14 years. Currently living part-time in Las Vegas and performing Water on Mars in Absinthe. Jay and I finally got together to discuss what the hell he was thinking when he put together his 2000 IJA routine.
I guess if I had to do it again, I would think twice.
What the hell he was thinking when he put together his now 3.3 million viewed TedX talk.
I was first put off by it in the beginning when he said, you know, American juggling is like this,
right.
European juggling is like this. And I'm like, well, that's not true.
Why Wes Peden developed a Swedish accent.
He had a very, very thick New York accent. A few years later, he's got like a Swedish accent.
Do you think I have an accent?
Why he dropped a ball on Dan Holzman's head on purpose.
I think I was standing on the judges' table.
You picked the right person for that.
I was mad about something that year, and I don't remember for the life of me what I was mad about.
And if he'll capitulate to my sport versus art war armistice. It's a day of fasting, but I'm taking Jay Gilligan to Madhouse Coffee in Las Vegas.
Do you drink coffee?
I don't.
Before we go any further, please super slam the like button and sumo smash the subscribe button, and then buckle up, sit back, and get ready for some serious juggling talk, because it's time for sport and art to clash in this no-holds-barred, no questions too taboo, one-on-one mano-y-mano interrogation of Jay Gilligan.
Oh, I think I remember why I was mad.
It's load-in day today. I'm gonna pick up my stuff from Ready Rich. I'm gonna train Penn, then head to the Rio.
If it looks like I'm a bit tired, well, I am. I never sleep well during these events, and scheduling a bunch of fast food shoots before I start this major event, which also includes some major video shoots, well, it keeps my brain pretty active 24 hours a day, so I don't find it very easy to sleep no matter how tired I am. Anyway, you get it. I'm tired. Who gives a shiatsu? Let's move on. This is what it looks like to push a dolly several hundred feet in various directions, dropping off banners for the stage and random equipment for random areas. Oh look, some of the world's best jugglers just loitering in front of the pavilion. I love it when jugglers come in early and I get to hang out a bit with them before the event starts. So yeah, maybe we'll do some of that.
Alright, last load. 2 loads is pretty good. I remember, boy, the first time I was doing these, I was loading in for hours. I think it took me like 5 hours to bring them up. So that's also before I realized they had a loading dock. And I was just coming in through the main entrance like a person coming into the casino, hauling all this shit. Didn't even have a dolly, just as much stuff as I could carry in my arms at a time.
Yeah, this is pretty boring stuff. I usually don't record any of it, so that's why I'm using all of it in this video, because it's nostalgic for me. So, if nothing else, this is a little bit of insight for you as to what's nostalgic for me.
Malcolm Benjaminson, Joe Fisher,
Yep.
Patrick, what's his name?
Elmhart?
Yeah, dude, you nailed it.
It's the only Patrick I know.
It's easy. Alright, I guess I'm gonna juggle. I guess I'm gonna juggle.
Almost like I used to be able to do. Who is that?
I just sent you a message. I said on my way in.
It was good enough.
Hey, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you.
By my calculations, 14 years.
Sure.
2004. Buffalo.
You probably have a better memory than me. I don't know. I'm old. How old are you?
Same age, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
44.
No, I'm 41, but I can't remember anything these days.
Okay. So maybe you are 44.
That could be.
Did you feel like juggling at all?
Yeah, I brought some things to throw.
I'm going to resurrect my backcrosses from the early 2000s.
Thanks for all the Instagrams.
Oh, you're welcome.
The
Thank
videos.
you for watching that.
Hey man, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah man, I think you're the hottest shit on Instagram right now.
Teen dream come true, you know?
How are your backcrosses these days?
Oh dude, I haven't seen them since we last met.
I just decided 5 minutes ago I like doubles better.
It's looking good.
It's looking a lot better than 5 minutes ago, but
No, I had a time like maybe 2011 where I had to decide to just I was doing technique and new shit, and I was like, I ran out of time. So I had to decide if I was going to keep up technique or just do new shit, and I just chose to do the new shit.
well then, so no side-by-side shot of us doing backcrosses. That's not gonna happen. That's why I was asking.
Oh, I see.
Can we do some of that, you know, the stereotypical,
Oh my God.
let's do the same trick at the same time.
I literally haven't tried it in years. Yeah, the boys asked me to do butterflies in the dressing room the other day, and I hadn't done it in 10 years, and I was like, oh, I think I could still do it, and like, I
Is
can't do
that butterflies? Is that what you call the Alberts, the crotch throws, the body throws?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with it. You can call it anything except Alberts, I think. I'm okay with it. This is one I still have to keep up.
Yeah. Pat's got it locked down.
Do you prefer those over the PX3s?
I guess so, but I would rather kind of juggle sticks than either.
Relic from the past. That's me. Still trying to perfect the 5-up 360. The amount of time I spent practicing this, I juggled 6 different size rings. In fact, I probably could have practiced this half as much as I've spent practicing it. That'd be just as good.
Yeah.
But the worse you are, the more calories you burn. So there's that. That's sometimes
I gotta be more bad.
what I tell myself to feel better about it. Well, at least I'm burning calories. Great. There we go. That's on the security cameras. Did you get that? Never gonna get better than that.
I have 3 of those.
Yeah. That'd save me a lot of time if I just had 3 of them.
Would have saved me a lot of money if I had 0 of them.
Yeah, just get rid of half my props. Save a lot of time. I like how with each spin my shoe comes off just a little bit more.
This is my retirement plan. Gonna make an act out of this shit. But it's like fucking hard to do. So I have to work on it. And then maybe one day when I'm old I can do it.
For those of you who are blind, Jay just took off on a horse. Okay, well that went on for a while, but let's skip ahead to a new segment I'm calling Jugglers in Cars Doing Errands with Jason.
So just for historical reference, this is the place that I've gone to pick up my SkillCon and WJF badges probably for the past 14 years.
Yeah.
With a couple of events that weren't in Vegas. I didn't come here for that and then fly back to Springfield. But when it's been in Vegas, this is where I've gone to get this.
Where are we going, Henderson?
Yep. No, Boulder City. Well, you managed to keep busy and employed most of the time.
Or give that illusion.
Yes, either way, it affects me the same.
I think if you take any project I do and look at it on its own, it's like the most depressing thing you've ever seen in terms of business. But if you do 1 million of those at the same time, it's not going too bad.
So you're just playing the numbers.
Pretty much.
Every idea that comes into your head, you just see it all the way through, and 1 out of 100 ideas will make you some money.
Maybe. No, I mean, there's definitely, no. Maybe when I was young that was the deal, but these days it's like there's a lot of commercial work that just funds the artistic stuff, and that's pretty set pattern.
Things were going great, but for some reason, even though we had a perfect shot, I felt compelled to change the angle. Because, 3 angles of 2 people in a car just isn't enough coverage.
Pen's wife, Emily, loves your show. She just randomly yesterday, when I was at their house, she says, "Have you seen Water on Mars? You have got to see Water on Mars."
That's cool.
So I googled Water on Mars, and you know what I saw? A bunch of fucking pictures of Mars. You gotta type in Water on Mars juggling. You guys don't own the whole, at least not the first page of Water on Mars searches.
But that's great that Emily liked it. That's really cool.
She's seen Absinthe in the hundreds of times.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't recommend that, but I do know that they have a lot of acts all the time because it's just like people are in and out constantly. Even from our 8 o'clock to our 10 o'clock show, they're different. It's crazy. After the first show, you'll get an announcement like, yep, we cut these acts, we got these new acts in. So in the spring, the host and the technicians gave up trying to understand what was next.
Yeah.
So there's a run order backstage. And after every act, they just go back and look at the paper. Oh yeah, that's next. But Pen's never seen the act, I guess, or the show. I remember they talked about it on his podcast once with him and Guido, and they were trying to explain the act because I think Guido was into it, and then Pen said, "Oh yeah, that's the act with the guy who can juggle really good but who doesn't juggle."
Oh.
Which I guess was talking about Wes when they first started.
Yeah, he would have to narrow that down a little bit, but I would know what group of jugglers he's talking about.
But I have a burning Pin Gillette question, which is my quest in my life to figure out. Which is that on his podcast he claimed to have given Michael Motion the crystal balls. Which is absolutely not the story Michael tells, and I don't really believe either of them, but...
So you don't believe he gave them to him, and you don't believe he did not give it to him?
Yeah, I think the truth lays...
Somewhere in the middle?
Somewhere in the middle, yeah. I mean,
he stole Pen's balls.
I don't think it was as clear cut.
They were his balls, but he didn't give it to him.
I don't think it was as clear cut as Penn being like, "Hey Michael, you want these crystal balls to use and become iconic?" But and I think there is something there to Penn's story that like
I'd heard that story.
Him and Michael hung out, and maybe Michael had seen them or something, and maybe got his own. I don't know. On the podcast, Penn said, I got these crystal balls. I thought I would juggle 5 of them. They hurt my hands. It was a stupid idea. So I was going to throw them away in the trash. So I was like, "Hey, Michael, you want these, trash balls?" And Michael was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll take those." And then
Okay, well, that'll be a mini cliffhanger, but I'll get to the bottom of that in a future episode. Meanwhile, let's get Jay some coffee.
Do you drink coffee?
I don't.
Okay.
What do you drink? Do you intake caffeine?
No.
Oh.
Mostly sugar only. Hot chocolate is fine.
Okay. What does your diet consist of these days?
Okay. So literally my diet is that I grew up in America and then I moved to Europe, and now that I'm in Vegas, I'm like freaking out, losing my mind, eating all the cheap food 24 hours a day.
But you've been here for a while, right? You still haven't worked through everything?
No. It's just that the food here is just like good that you can't get across the Atlantic, man. And especially Vegas, it's just like 24 hours a day, access to anything delivered to your door. It seems like an uncommonly huge number of restaurants here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like over 2,000 or something.
Yeah, it would take a while to work your way through all of them, even just the good ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
I can't keep this up the way I'm eating and do it every day, even though it's just one meal.
Yeah.
Like if you saw what I ate last night, you'd probably not eat today.
Oh, I'm with you, dude. I did the Win buffet on Sunday,
Okay.
and I'm still like,
Yeah, recovering from that.
don't feel very great.
Yeah, and it seems like we never learn from that feeling because we get hungry again and then it starts to sound like a good idea again.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm kind of intentionally, like I know that I'm leaving here in February. And when I leave in February, I'm going to live in France, which is my least favorite country in the world, I think. So I'll be living there eating nothing. Like I'll have water and a cucumber or something. Because there's like nothing else to eat. There's baguettes and cheese.
Cheese, they have good cheese, right?
I don't know about good. They certainly have a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm just eating now like a motherfucker because I know I'm leaving in February.
There's no food that's literally off the table for you then. You'll eat anything.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, well, I would have liked to have done a buffet, but you know, I also just came from ships, so like that's not a novelty for me either.
Yeah. I'm with you. But yeah, generally I'll try to do like a nice like a fun meal a day. Like eat once a day.
And that's just once?
Yeah.
So you'll essentially you won't do breakfast or lunch?
No.
Oh, so you'll skip those?
Yeah. I mean, if I did 3 meals a day like that, I would die.
Yeah, you would die.
Whether
So do you get hungry though earlier in the day, or are you just so
No.
full from dinner that it carries over until dinner the next day?
Yeah, I don't really get hungry. Ever.
Even for dinner?
Nah.
So that's just more for entertainment than for sustenance.
It's only to show how much I value my time here.
Okay.
I love Vegas so much. Like,
Yeah?
I really honestly do. I would live here if I could.
Well, you take the food away, you still feel the same way about it? What else about it is there?
Most of the community, like I was pretty shocked when I came to Vegas. I thought everybody here would be a bunch of assholes because it has that reputation of being like a hard city or like rough, like kind of in your face and aggressive, or like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Like it's a crazy place. But it turns out like all the performers are hired by Soleil. They're just hanging out, man.
Nobody's actually from Vegas.
They're all getting money.
Right.
And like everybody's super nice and happy, and take away the food from Vegas, it's still really cool, but the food really helps.
Yeah, it helps.
And just it's really cheap here, right? Like Vegas is really cheap.
Yeah.
Cheap rent and cheap living and cheap food.
Well, I had to move. I was getting fat living here. I had a question about Wes.
Yeah.
Well, I met him. He was 15 years old. He had a very, very thick, very obvious New York accent. A few years later, he's got like a Swedish accent.
Yeah.
I mean, like he sounds like a foreigner.
Yeah.
Like he's from there.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
I have one immediate thought that comes to mind, which is that him and his father went to England for BJC once. And I think they were there for a week, and when they came back, his dad, Jeff, had the English accent for like a few months.
It's hereditary.
I think so.
Oh, it's fun to laugh at other people. We'll do more of that later.
Do you think I have an accent?
Oh, shit just got real.
People tell me that all the time. Man, you sound like you've been living in Sweden.
I
don't think so, but
I don't think so.
Yeah.
We'll talk about your TEDx talk in a little bit, but I think maybe you had more of an accent when you did that than you do now.
Right. But also, I mean, it's context.
You were there.
Unconsciously, you know, I do notice that I've lost my vocabulary. I'll tell you that. Because I speak international English. So no 3-syllable words. Like everything very minimal.
Right.
So in terms of Wes having an accent, I don't know. Except that I did notice his father have a strong one after a week in England. But
that might be genetics then.
I think there's a few words. I mean, there's still a few words that Wes has an accent on, like not. Yeah. I think not. But there is Madhouse.
Ah, Madhouse Coffee, the perfect place to take someone who doesn't like coffee.
Do you guys have hot chocolate? You want a hot chocolate?
2 kinds of hot chocolate. 2 kinds. And if you like candy cane, we have the drinks.
I guess we have to do candy.
Sugar
We have to do candy cane.
Sugar and chocolate.
I can't say no to that.
See? Boom, problem solver. Hot diabetes juice to the rescue.
Hey, we have some almond croissant right out of the oven. Any interest?
Any interest in an almond croissant that just came right out of the oven? No, not today.
Anything else?
I do have some fond memories of the brief time we've spent together in the past. But we'll go back 18 years, almost 19 years now. Back to Montreal.
Montreal. Oh yeah.
Montreal.
Okay, cool.
2000.
Yeah.
The year I think everything changed. The branch and the space-time continuum. Many different alternate timelines I think branched out from that year, all because of what we did in the IJA competitions. I remember you did. I mean, you had, and I still don't know exactly what your intentions are when you do these things, but I do have a theory.
Okay.
You had, I mean, you were doing a lot of complicated 3-ball tricks.
Yeah.
Everything that you do, there's always this degree of difficulty that demonstrates that you have a high level of skill. And you don't have to for what you're doing. It does not need to be that difficult. I mean, for what I do, it doesn't have to be that difficult, but for a different reason, because the audience doesn't know any better.
Right.
That's also the same reason, but not the only reason.
Right.
But you seem to intentionally want to give the audience as many other things to watch, at least in this routine, other than yourself, to the point where it's a major distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a guy on the stage playing video games.
Yeah, TV.
You had toys going around, toy trains and stuff like that.
Had a guy in the audience giving out cash.
Yeah.
He's giving out money.
Yeah. While you're on the stage doing all this incredibly difficult 3-ball stuff.
Right. Definitely all those things that year, it was about just the format of a competition. So it was more conceptual and like, okay, I have these 3-ball tricks. I want to present them. How can I do that in this context? I remember there was a lot of talk at the IJA. I mean, I actually don't remember, but I can try to remember because I haven't thought about this since then. But that at the IJA, if you wanted to perform, you could go on Renegade stage, you could go on the competition, or you could go on the public show, right? Like those are kind of the venues. So the competition seemed the least political way to show something to your peers or to that community. I wasn't really interested in competing. Like I wasn't doing that to win. Right. I wanted a platform to show what I've been working on, and then I was just like having fun inside that box of like, well, what is the competition? I think I only had 2 TVs with video games right in front of the judges so on the front of the stage there was the 2 TVs. So the judges were sitting at their table. There was like people playing video games. There was a guy going through the audience handing out cash so that people would get hyped. I intentionally stood on these wire frame things, I think, and didn't move my feet because I know when we were young it was like, you're in the competition, you have to use all areas of the stage, and you've been a judge at the IJA, right? And I've been backstage and have those conversations with those judges of like, well, it was really good, but they didn't use the corner of the stage. These opinions come from the judges from all backgrounds of experience and their preconceived notions of what is worthwhile.
Well, that's subjective. That was my whole beef with it.
Right.
That year, we were both there with our own agendas.
Yeah, so
it did not correlate with what the competition was there for.
So I wasn't really thinking like, oh, when this guy hands out money, it's going to mean this in relationship to the 3 balls. It was just more like, here's the situation we're in. I want to do these tricks. And then I do remember the 3-ball tricks was the important thing to me. And I can tell you that. Maybe you think it's funny. I think it's funny looking back on it. Is one day I woke up and I was like, okay, I can juggle 3 balls like this crossed arm, or I can go crossed arm like this. What's the difference? And then I spent 1 year trying to figure out why I would do right hand over or right hand under. And then I came up with like 175 3-ball tricks. And then I just picked the ones I liked the most and put them in that piece.
I don't know how you'd remember those tricks, 3-ball tricks. I can remember, the 5-ball tricks that I know how to do.
Yeah.
That's easy.
I mean, I don't remember them now. So.
But was there a conscious decision when you're saying, okay, I'm going to have a guy playing video games?
Yeah.
Is there a why that goes along with it?
I just wanted to block the judges' vision.
Okay.
I just didn't want the judges to see me because I was just like, I'm in a competition, but I don't care about that element of this. I just want to go in front of all my friends at IJA who I think are cool people, and I want to do something that's cool, but in an environment where they will see what I'm doing. Because I could do that at Renegade, but it's not the place for them to see something. It's a place for them to be maybe involved in the creation of that in Renegade, where they heckle or they make fun of you or do some funny thing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, these 3-ball tricks aren't really that funny. necessarily.
But in a way, you're communicating to both the judges and the whole audience that you're not here to compete, and to demonstrate that I'm going to block the judges.
Yeah, that was part of that was the whole thing. Funny. Yeah, that was the whole thing.
I like that better than anything else I could have come up with.
I don't know. The one thing I remember from that, I really don't remember much, honestly, but one thing I do remember from that day was it was Jack Calvin. Jack Calvin was the host.
Oh yeah.
And after I had done my thing, he came back on stage and said some very derogatory, negative remark. Yeah, like he came back on stage.
People, if you piss off Jack Calvin, you've really done a good job.
Fair enough. No, I came off stage and he came on.
I'm sure he was smiling when he said it to you.
But it was the break in character that was like the truth. It was just like, man, that was useless, or that was weird. I don't know what he said, but it was like it was the breaking character. It was the breaking character that was real like honest, and I was like, oh man,
appreciate that. You can believe that coming from him.
He's just the IJA, and not to diminish its importance in my youth, but like let's put it into perspective. It's a bunch of people who get together and hang out every year. It's not.
I call it an underground cult juggling community where nothing that you do ever reaches the light of day.
Yeah.
It stays there with them.
Exactly. So in that, and there's that way.
A lot of our time was wasted on that underground cult community. I mean, it helped us grow, and it sent us on our trajectories outward. Well, we had to go outward.
I was gonna just say like maybe it was stupid to go to a competition, like for me to go to a competition and then I'm gonna compete but I'm not. Like okay, but dude, just go book a show. But on the other hand, I mean, IJA growing up did give me a reason to work towards a goal.
I really like that.
When we were in juniors, every year, it was like, oh, what tricks are we gonna do this year in juniors? Right. That was cool, and I appreciate IJA for that.
And for us, that was the question, literally, because we did not know which tricks we would be doing.
Yeah.
We knew which tricks we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Most of them didn't happen, especially as juniors. There's a good chance you'd find yourself doing this more than one time. But yeah, no, I love that you were there to not compete and block the judges. I was there to insult the judges. I had no idea there was so much overlap in our agendas that year.
For sure.
So just a few other things. Like the guy passing out money, what was the thought behind having him doing that?
No, I wanted to hype the audience because I thought like, okay, we're at a competition and I'm not going to do things that would normally hype an audience at the IJA competition, like Club Backcrosses or even a variety of props. I'm not even going to move my feet, so they're not going to like this. But everybody likes free money. So I was like, man, if I'm paying the audience, they're going to be hyped. So then did
that work?
I think the people who got money were hyped. I mean, I gave away like $500 or something, like in $20 bills. And I think like, it's Canadian though, so it doesn't. We were in Montreal. Yeah. No, but imagine if you're I had this fantasy, and I can't believe I'm remembering all this, but that the judges are just like they can't see. There's the TV, but they hear the audience freaking out.
So back in that room, they're like, the audience really liked them.
No, but just in the moment of them being like, what's he doing? It must be amazing. I wish I could see. But
and then they create the false memories of you doing something amazing.
Right. That didn't work in the back room. I didn't get anything that year.
No. Well, I got screwed because I went overtime 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. I still quote you from that routine like monthly in my life. Like if I'm working with someone, I go, give me that shit. Give me that shit.
Yeah.
And it's from the.
Give me those. What was
you said give me that shit. If you were freaking out, you said shit.
Crap. I said crap. No, I didn't say shit.
Really?
I didn't say shit. Yeah, I didn't use actual profanities.
Damn.
Give me that crap.
Oh damn it! Now I have to change my life.
I'm okay with you keep continuing to tell that story.
I like the memory that you said, give me that shit. But I like this idea but this idea of like not being able to have a lighting design generally, I was like, I need a reason not to fill the stage. It's like, well, if I don't move my feet.
But you did fill the stage just with everything other than yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know if they brought that up at all. Well, the stage was
there was a lot of stuff going on.
There was no empty part of the stage.
Yeah, exactly.
In fact, you covered more of the stage than any one act could do.
It's true. But that's generally how I am. I love having a box where I know what's expected, and then how can you innovate, I don't know, mess around with those ideas.
Who cares if you're over here now? I mean, are you worried about their necks getting stiff?
Well, no, the premise is, isn't it from, it's from, I don't know if it's from Dave Finnegan's book, It's high, low, fast, slow. Have you heard that? You have to do a trick that's high.
No.
Then you have to do a trick that's low.
First of all, the fact that you would even ask me if I remember any quote from a Finnegan novel, you're already in the hole there.
But this idea of high, low, fast, slow, where you have to vary what you're doing or the audience will be bored. And the premise is that your audience is stupid and bored. That's the starting premise. Like, you don't give your audience any credit as human beings. Oh, I have to entertain you.
They're monkeys.
They're monkeys, yeah. This idea of high, low, fast, slow. And I think it's such a boring place to start a premise for a show, that your audience sucks.
Right.
That's a terrible, maybe they do suck, but maybe you could strive for more.
There are better ways.
You could hope for more.
But that was one of my favorite moments, my recollection, my Jay Gilligan
thanks, man.
moment. My favorite one, though, came 4 years later in Buffalo. One of the last times I saw you. And this is one of those cases where it's art that's enhanced by skill, and you can't have either one without the other in what you did, because you performed a masterful execution of 6 balls for I think 100 catches.
Yeah.
That's impressive enough. But I think the 100th throw, what would have been the 100th catch, you positioned yourself before you started juggling in such a way that ball would land on the head of Dan Holzman.
Yeah. But I think I was standing on the judges' table, wasn't I?
Doesn't matter where you were.
I think I was on the judges' table, so I had some proximity.
Most people, when they start juggling 6 balls, they don't end up in the same place. So that's a demonstration of the skill required to keep that pattern going for your ultimate plan, to let the 100. So there's also the skill of counting the throws and knowing which one is the 100th throw. And you must have known when you started which hand it was going to come out of.
Yeah.
I don't know how you practice something like that, but I know it was only one try, and you got it.
You only get one try.
And I think that trick is the technical embodiment of my whole Montreal performance.
Cool.
You managed to encapsulate all of that in the 100th throw and the 100th catch of that 6-ball pattern. And I remember Holzman just going, oh, after he got hit in the head. And you picked the right person for that, too.
Right. I was mad about something that year, and I don't remember for the life of me what I was mad about at this point.
Something else we have in common, I think, is I do recall being upset with someone about something.
No, but I was so angry that year. Oh, I think I remember why I was mad.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because I did prelims in Madison in 2001, and they didn't let me in the competition.
That was 3 years before.
Yeah, but I don't think I went to the IJA the next 2 years.
I'm what am I at now? I think 2008 was the last time. I'm at a decade now. That's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
A decade of not doing something.
Right.
When there was Juggling, when there was like forums for juggling, and when I started the World Juggling Federation, there just spawned up this controversy between art and sports.
Yeah.
Right? And it seemed like there were, from the art side of it, there was this real animosity toward the way we were promoting it, like who's the best juggler in the world. Because from an artistic perspective, it's all subjective, of course.
Right.
I was creating an objective perspective where, at least for this year, and at the same time, the IJA was too subjective, even in their competitions.
Right.
You know, like contact juggling could win over, toss juggling. So I wanted something that was more directly applicable to.
Sure.
But it seemed like the argument, and there were artistic jugglers that also competed in the sport, and they understood when you're in this one room, this one time a year, these are the rules for that, and if you don't like it, you don't have to come, right? But there seemed to be this miscommunication or this misconception that I was trying to say everyone should do this. Whereas from some of the artistic advocates, and certainly they don't represent all of them, but some of them would say juggling should only be done as an art. Which I think is even more narrow-minded than just creating a competition in one area. Like, this is just what we're going to do for this one day here. And so I think we can both settle this right now, being
Absolutely. Let's settle this right now.
So both of us as the ambassadors for the art of juggling and the sport of juggling, we can resolve this for all our respective communities.
Thank God.
I prepared an armistice.
All right.
This is the Sport Armistice Arms Race Resolution of 018.
I like it.
And we each have our own copy.
Is there an acronym for that? TSAA. Oh, that works.
SARS.
SARS.
It reads, let those who wish to interpret and present the skill of juggling do so in any manner that brings them joy and fulfillment, and not let any person put restrictions on any juggler's quest to discover a style, presentation, and/or competition format that allows any and all jugglers to realize their own unique style and vision in their pursuit of happiness, while endowed with the option to participate in all styles known now or developed in the future throughout the multiverse in perpetuity. Did I cover all of our bases? You think that's something we can sign?
I can agree to that.
I guess my signature comes first.
I can agree to that.
Yeah, that was my signature field. There we go.
Yeah.
Now you all can let it go.
Yeah, seriously. This has been done for a while.
Yeah, it is.
And this is the gravestone.
Yeah. Well, it never had this kind of closure.
No,
It
but
only had closure because the form went away.
now everyone knows publicly there's a gravestone on this topic.
Yeah.
We can stop talking about it.
Final nail in the coffin.
No, but I remember when that happened, when that whole argument was an actual thing to talk about, 15, 20 years ago. Right. I think for me personally, the biggest thing I realized is that I think a lot of people had knee-jerk reactions, but I personally couldn't articulate my position. Like I had some sort of feeling, and I think more of my feeling was that I myself was confused.
Yeah.
And just that I had never articulated things to myself that I thought to believe in. It was just like, oh yeah, but of course you should wear a bow tie, like when you're in juniors, and never having gone through that thought process consciously. And so yeah, I mean the whole problem with the debate is that, like you just said, juggling can be whatever the fuck you want it to be. It's not a problem.
And even Anthony Gatto at one point finally admitted that juggling inherently is not an art because it takes a lot of practice to present it like an art.
For sure.
You know, like you can even say, painting is an art, music is an art, but you're not doing it artistically until you reach a certain level of skill. So I've always said,
For sure.
It starts off as a skill, then it branches off into whatever direction you want it to go.
Well, juggling's a thing. I mean, it's a thing like anything else. It's just an activity.
Right.
It's not and that's the other thing too that I think about when I learned to juggle. You learn to, do the one ball, do the two ball exchange. No, don't hand it across. No, you're handing it across. No, throw both hands, and then smile.
Yeah.
When I literally, that's how I learned to juggle. Somebody said, and then smile. And when I was a kid, I was like, oh, okay, that's what you do. And thinking back on it, that's so messed up that somebody tells you to smile because it implies performance, number one, and it implies performance in a very particular way, which is just so useless. It would be so much cooler if they're like, now you can do two balls, you do three, now you can make your own trick. That'd be cool. And then I say, oh, how do you make a trick? Oh, here's a bunch of different ways you can make a trick. Wow. That would be cool.
Another way to go about that, instead of saying smile, is okay. Now, how do you feel about what you're doing?
Yeah. What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah, what do you want to do?
Do you want to smile?
Do you want to talk about?
Do you want to concentrate on what you're doing? You don't have to smile. It's okay.
Even to just recollect, how do you feel right now? What you just went through to get to this point?
Yeah.
Because that's all information that's personalized to you that you can create an act out of.
Yeah, and
because it's an honest representation of your experience.
And do you even want to show this to anyone?
Yeah,
you don't have to show anyone.
Yeah.
You just throw the balls. That's it. You're done. There's no more. If you want to perform, it's another discussion.
Right.
And definitely,
totally different thing.
And definitely not about smiling. Then, did you have a TEDx question? You said or no?
Yeah. I watched it last night just as research. Because,
Damn. That's brave of you.
I watched the whole thing.
Jesus.
Because when I do research on someone, I go back, to 2013. My main question: why do you think it has 2.5 million views?
No clue.
Of all the juggling videos out there, I think one of Laugi's reached 1 million.
No clue.
The dubstep one, but
it's so long. I have no idea.
I don't know. I had some questions about it, but it all seemed to make sense once I watched it all the way through. I was first put off by it in the beginning when he said, American juggling is like this,
right.
European juggling is like this, and I'm like, well, that's not true.
Right.
I mean, to some extent it is. Not everyone does everything in every country that way, but I was just like, oh, fuck that shit.
Sure.
But then I watched it all the way through, and I was like, well, yeah, kind of. And your experience with the rings was actually pretty informative and funny.
Right.
But then the final routine that you did. which kind of parallels the question I had about your 2000 routine.
Right.
It seemed almost less like a juggling routine and more like you were fighting with all the props, almost like the footloose dancing routine. Like
right on.
You were attacking. It was almost like a martial arts routine.
Well,
and the catches that you make, I don't even know how. Like it looked like every throw was going to be a drop. And I mean that's one of your signature abilities, of course.
I don't know if the camera work got one of the best moments. I heard maybe it didn't. So I'm doing like some pirouettes or something, like maybe a one-up pirouette with 3 balls, and there was a ledge above my head, and each pirouette I'm moving backwards towards the ledge. So I knew that the last throw was just going to get stuck. It was a really good moment. I just come around and then the ball's gone, and then I started to tear something up. I don't know.
What's weird about the spins though is like out of all this crazy, weird, random stuff, then out of nowhere, almost like a Benji-inspired pirouette comes out of nowhere.
Right.
I mean, almost with the arm tuck and everything. Now a proper dancey pirouette, and then he's going to go under the table and experiment with how he can wrap his arm around. Oh, there's some water here. Let me drink that. No, let me put a ball in it. Oh, I dropped the ball. Well, good. There's a cup right here to take the place. So how much of that was improvised? If not 100%.
So here's the story. The week before, I had sat down in my life and said, look, I'm expending too much energy on projects that don't bring me money back. Or like, I had this reflection of like, I'm doing all this stuff for free, I gotta cut down somewhere, I'm spreading myself too thin, I gotta pay my rent or something. So I said, okay, I can commit to projects as much as they're gonna pay me. So TED.
So they didn't
TEDx. Well, so TEDx called, and I was, I think, literally number 20 on the list. And then, which is funny that they told me that. But what they wanted was a 20-minute show. They wanted me to do 20 minutes of my show, not a lecture, not a presentation. They wanted a show. So they had called 19 other circus artists in Helsinki and said, will you come do your show? And then everybody said, how much do you pay? And they said, no, we don't pay. And 19 people said no. So they called me and said, will you do 20-minute show for free? And I said, no. And I said, but I'll do 20 minutes of anything I want for free. And they said, oh, okay, I guess we need someone. You're the last on the list. So then for 2 weeks, they, or 2 days or whatever it was, they kind of constantly emailed me asking for my script. I'm not gonna make a script. I'm not getting paid. So I took the boat from Sweden to Finland. It's a 12-hour boat ride. So when I got on the boat, I said, oh, I'm going to do this TEDx thing. I better start figuring out what I'm going to say. So I made a bunch of notes on my phone, and I did really honestly struggle with how do you present the context of juggling in such a short format for people who might care about it who aren't juggling. I don't know, like I always struggle with that. For example, saying like this is how American juggling is and European juggling is obviously a crazy oversimplification to try to like communicate a point in that format. But what happened was I scribbled some notes out, really struggled with like where's the level of where am I going to attack this from, what perspective, what level of detail. And then they sat all of the presenters in the front row from the beginning of the day. And three hours later, I stood up. So for 3 hours, I sat and watched TEDx presentations in Finnish. And I don't speak Finnish. So I sat for 3 hours looking at the stage thinking, oh, there's some water, I can spill the water. There's a ledge.
In those 3 hours.
There's a ledge. I can throw a ball on the ledge. I can do this and I can do that.
X moves, I can see if that's balanceable. Because it looked like you'd never tried to balance that before in your life.
The thing was it had a brick in the bottom. Yeah. So it was like, I didn't know that, so I picked it up.
It took you maybe 4 tries?
Yeah. I'm like, this thing doesn't balance. Oh, there's a brick in the bottom of it. But so basically,
that's to keep people from fucking with it.
Oh, right. No, so I sat there for 3 hours being like, okay, I know at the end of this I'm going to do a jam, and I know I'm going to like break stuff. Because like that's like that's the point. So what can I break? And then just have those points in my mind. And just when I did the routine, I was like, oh yeah, I could. Oh, I remember there's some water. Oh yeah, whatever. I never thought when I did that it would get 2 million views. Obviously, I mean, it's so random. I guess if I had to do it again, I would think twice, but it happened.
It looked like you put in as much time as any juggler would be expected to for the presentation from start to finish.
It was super fun to talk about a topic that I didn't really know about from the beginning, about the size of the rings and the evolution of stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun as a personal task. I got asked to do a lot more of the TEDx's after that. Everybody there gets paid. The cameraman gets paid. The security guard gets paid. But then the person doing the content, it's implied that you're going to get free publicity. And out of 2 million views, you know how many gigs I've gotten?
None.
I got this interview.
And guess how much we pay?
I got a fucking hot chocolate.
You get a hot chocolate?
I do appreciate it.
I don't even know what that costs, so I don't know what we paid here. I think all of my questions have been answered. I feel complete. I wasn't actually expecting as concrete of answers that I received, so this exceeded my expectations. I had no idea that I would have like definite answers, like no choose your own adventure answers here, but actual definitive from the source. Here's what I was thinking. Here's what I was doing, and it's very satisfying. It's so satisfying, more so than I thought when I was teetering on if I wanted to include you in this or not.
Well, I had no idea I was going to get a nice certificate out of this.
Yeah, and I told them this isn't just this isn't flyer paper or anything like this.
Oh no, this is.
I said, give me something kind of stiff.
Yeah, look at this.
You can do thunder sound effects, and you can hang this.
I could donate my copy to the IJA archive, and then they go forever.
David Kane will never get a copy. He'll get take a picture of it and send it to him. And say, look what you don't get an original of. And we just wait until the value goes up.
Okay.
Because this may be where we make our money right here. Either way, everybody's happy. Everybody wins. Not as entertaining as controversy, but there was so much of that in the early 2000s.
Yeah, people got enough of that.
We're old, we're fucking tired.
We're broken.
Leave us alone.
We're injured.
And no one else is doing anything really interesting though in terms of controversy and juggling. And nobody was before, I don't think. Right. So it had its little wave. I'm moving on. It's like no one's thinking about this anymore but me.
No, people are. I still meet them at in Europe, and it just kills me that they still talk about it.
We're gonna go now. Go do something more productive with your lives.
Cut.
But don't eat.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Jason. Nice to see you.
See you at SkillCon.
Yeah, and then again in 14 years.
So there was no food, but there was some juggling and extra fasting to make up for no food. But more importantly, I got to catch up with the Jay Gilligan in what promises to go down in history as the most comprehensive investigative journalism of a juggler whose performance motivation eluded me for decades, and now I feel as though this enigmatic, eccentric performance artist is a bit less enigmatic, and I finally have some answers and closure. I don't know if he was always this candid, or if age and injuries have softened him. Or maybe it's just me. I like to think it's just me. Either way, I feel like I got real answers to all my questions. Unless, wait, is that just what he wanted me to think?
Or give that illusion.
He's a genius. Hey, if you like this episode of Fast Food, please click the like button and subscribe. Click the notification bell. Help me stay in business with this fast food stuff, and I'll do more of it. Who do you think I should do an episode of? Leave it in the comments below.